Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Spill the Tea, Lou. My name is Lou. As you can see, it's not just live with Lou, it is live with Lou and Ash. But as per usual, Lou is not organised. This was supposed to be at 6 o'clock. It's 33 minutes past 6. None of you knew that except the people in the group chat. So it's all totally fine. But Lou decided she was going to the spa today because my dad very kindly got massages for both me and my fiance. So we went to the spa, we chilled out, and when you go for massages, you get to use all the spa facilities. And I thought about, do you remember that time Ash was on the stream saying how he had a spa day while I was at work? Well, I was the spa today. Okay, so Ash is here. He is going to talk about Newcastle because God bless him. Nobody will let this man talk about his team and he is not happy. And we want to give Ash and all the Newcastle fans a voice. They're going to tell us how they feel. We're going to talk about all of the games yesterday. I watched as many of them as possible. I've watched all the reactions from all the different fans. Obviously, I'm a United fan. We're definitely going to get stuck into that result. Ash is going to talk about Newcastle. I watched the first half of Chelsea-Bournemouth. Considering the score didn't change after the first half, I feel like I saw all the good bits, so I'm fully informed on that. I did also have, so I had United and Wolves on the big screen TV, and then beside me on the computer I had Villa Arsenal on the go. So at all the games, so between us we have absolutely everything covered. Ash is going to kick us off while I finish organising things that I should have already organised. So Ash, take it away. What do you feel about Newcastle's win? 3-1, 2 goals in less than 10 minutes. Surely you're over the moon.
I think it's like, it's a, how do you put it? It's, we're sugarcoating it. It looks like a better result than what it was. 3-1, you would say that. The thing is, if I said to you, we got an away win 3-1, it sounds amazing.
Yeah, it does.
In actuality, what happened? So Joe Linton's first goal was an absolute amazing goal. I can't even lie. It was insane. I will never see Joe Linton do that again. So that was a one-off. It was kind of like this from the edge of the box, tipped it over into the opposite side of the goal. It was an unbelievable goal that you would expect from a striker, which Joe Linton is not. But we've got massive injury issues. It is very evident. We do this thing again. We're having the same problem. We're going 1 or 2-0 up, and then we're just absorbing pressure. We're not trying to kill the game. We're not trying to score more. We're just letting teams come onto us, which is allowing them to score equalizers. And Happy New Year, David. Oh yeah, I forgot to say Happy New Year to everyone. That's since it's tonight.
Oh, it is tonight. We could be here until New Year. I see Rob. I see David.
In some places it will be.
Dave. I see Guess. I see Twisted. I see Danny. We've got everybody in the house. We have all the people. I saw Guess earlier there as well. Everybody's in the house. David, we are going to come to that. I'm going to press this little star button because, oh yeah, that gives me a list. So I've started that to come back to it. We are going to cover that. But I want to let Ash speak his truth about Newcastle because you've tried. You've tried. You're going to get your moment. So you continue.
I would like to know Floss's thoughts as well with being a Newcastle fan in the comments, because I'm in a very weird position as a Newcastle fan, because there's quite obvious that we've got big issues, because even the away fans are saying, "We've beat you away. How shit are you?" If that's a chant, as a Newcastle fan, that says how bad we are against Burnley in general. We've got complete injury issues. Look,
if you have your graphic there, Ash, your injury graphic, feel free to whack that in and I'll put that up there for you, because I did not realise you had so many injuries. I thought Arsenal were the only team in the whole league with injuries, because all I was hearing about was all these injuries. And Arsenal do have injuries and they're getting more and more of them, which I will talk about. But what I didn't realise was that Newcastle had 6 million players out. So if you have that, you whack it up, we'll show the people and you can use it to back up your point. Don't you worry, Ash. We will show the people what is happening to Newcastle. Decimated and only beaten Burnley 3-1. With Joe Linton that's not even a striker. Although Wissa got one in like the 6th or 7th minute as well, to be fair.
We'll talk about that.
Wissa striker. because I didn't see it. So I'm looking
Right.
at the score and it looks all right to me. Right.
Right.
So talk us
There's
through
that
it,
one.
Ash.
I put another one up of like the injuries from the start of the season as well, which you can look afterwards.
Yeah.
So yeah, this is what I was talking about. You know, it's basically the same. That's sort of the same injury list as what we had against you guys. When I made it a big deal that I know. All right, Tyrell. That people obviously were saying, "Oh, it's all just defenders." It doesn't matter. It's not going to make much of a difference. It does. It makes a big difference. The fact we have to play Lewis Miley as right back when he's a centre mid, you're taking him away from his actual role, which in turn is not just that. It stops the likes of Tino Livramento, flipping Tonali. Tino and Tonali's always got very close names. It always confuses me. Sandro Tonali and Bruno, they normally get subbed off for Lewis Miley. If he's getting starting off with the pitch on right back, you can't then do that. It affects squad depth. Obviously, we've got big issues in defence. We know that. But I think I think what we need. I mean, hey, listen, Rob. This is the only table we're top of the table was, and it's not the one that I want to be top of the table on. So
That really made me laugh.
I know. It's very part of that. Hey, listen,
distraction.
To be fair, it's one of the best tables to be mid-table on.
Well, I would rather be right down there. Where the thing is,
Yeah.
West Ham. Now, obviously, they did all right. This I was going to say this weekend, but it wasn't a weekend yesterday. But I mean, they've got the fewest injuries. Them, Fulham, Brighton. The teams with the fewest injuries aren't doing particularly well. What I would also say, this is current injuries and suspensions by position, and it was also valid. This is from the 30th, so it is valid as of yesterday. What it doesn't include is
AFCON players.
AFCON, which so United have 5 injuries, but we've also got 3 at AFCON. Sunderland have 3 injuries, but they have 7 at AFCON. So it's a good thing to give you a ballpark, but it's not the full picture.
Yeah, it's just obviously we're quite lucky. We actually don't have any players in AFCON, just mainly because Wissa got injured in his last AFCON trip. So which he didn't play, so that's why he's actually not on there.
Well, this is currently injured. So it's not injuries throughout the season. It was who was currently injured, unavailable, suspended on the 30th of December. So if the player is back or has played even 1 minute, it won't count them. But just so everybody understands, because I didn't explain it.
Yeah. It's injuries at the current day, which the current day was yesterday when I screenshotted this. But I actually do also have another.
Here, I'll pull the other one up for you.
This might be a bit easier for you. This is total injuries from the start of the season.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so there you do see, obviously, Arsenal is right at the top. But I didn't know yous were behind them there. I did not realise how many injuries yous had. I knew you were telling me you'd had defensive injuries. I didn't realise it was so many.
Yeah, our problem is our defense. This is what I've been saying is I'm not that bothered as much about our forward roles in midfield. It's our defense. We've had a massive issue with our centre backs getting injured since we bought Sven Botman. He's constantly been injured. He's an amazing centre back. He's at a similar level as Malik Chow. I don't know if you've ever seen him at all since we bought him this season, but he is a sensational centre back. Very young. We tried to get him the previous season. Luckily, we managed to get him this season. I still don't know how no one else went for him. We're very lucky that happened. So yeah, we got the likes of Malik Chow, who hasn't been injured, thank God. But then the rest of the defense, obviously, if you go left back, we have say Tino Livramento and stuff, and I mean Matt Target, but God, I don't know if you can class him as a player. But obviously, we have to play the likes of Dan Burn at left back. We've got obviously a right back with Tino Livramento that keeps on going between left back and right back. He's been getting injured constantly. Lewis Hall at left back, he's been getting injured. He even went down in the Burnley game, which I thought he had a flipping ankle injury because he got stamped on his ankle. I crapped myself because I was like, we can't flip and lose another wing back. Yeah, it's looking bad. We just need to reinforce in the January.
Do you think you will?
We have to. It's
but
not
we
that,
have to. Do you think you will? I mean,
from what I've heard from Eddie Howe and stuff, it does seem like we're going to.
okay.
However, do I think we'll reinforce enough? I'm not so sure about that. I personally, how I see it, it needs to be like the January when we had the takeover, where we've got like 5 players in, because that's what we need. We need a right winger. We need an attacking midfielder. We need a right back, a left back, and a centre back, and maybe even a goalkeeper. Like we need to overhaul this team, like, because we've got so many aging players, we've got so many injuries. If we want to have any sort of chance of getting European football, which we need, by the way, we need European football to keep these players that we've got, because if not, they're going to end up potentially going somewhere else. So that's where I'm at. That I'm slightly worried at. I'm not worried about Eddie Howe and our tactics. I'm just worried that if we get injuries and don't actually pick up form, we're going to end up losing our talent. So
are you worried about the fact that while you at Newcastle, because I can't believe the age of your team, I didn't realize how old your team was. Like your average age has to be really high because they're all starting to age out. But there's so many teams in this transfer window that need reinforcements. I mean, Arsenal do, like if you look at it there, Arsenal do and have had a lot of injuries throughout the season. Liverpool are definitely going to move for someone because Isak and his leg. Manchester United, if Manchester United don't sign a player in this window, I am going to swim that sea until I find somebody who looks like they're supposed to be in charge. I'm going to have a stern word with them. I mean, who else have you got? Chelsea are always doing stuff. I mean, let's be honest, Chelsea's definitely going to buy someone just because it's Chelsea. City is going for Semenyo. That's more or less done. Everybody's moving. Everybody's in a crisis. Everybody needs players. So a lot of the time in January, there's less competition because not all the teams are moving. This January, it feels like a summer transfer window. It feels like so many teams are going to have to go in, which means for the same amount of players, you're going to have a lot more competition, and you've got the extra thing of like people maybe not wanting to move mid-season, especially if their team's doing well. So like, for example, I would love, and I said this all summer, I've said it on every stream, I would take Ollie Watkins at Manchester United in a heartbeat. I'll swim the sea and I'll drive him myself. Don't know how long the drive is, but I'll drive him, okay?
You say that, Lou, just on that.
Yeah.
Just on Ollie Watkins, I want to know something from you. How much are you willing to pay for him?
Oh, probably not as much as Villa want. Definitely. I would say definitely not as much as Villa. But I'm a better negotiator than Manchester United, so that's where the problem lies.
So he's 30 years old, by the way.
Yeah, that's what I want. I don't want him forever. I just want him until Sesko finds his bloody shooting boots and until we can get somebody else. I think we could get definitely 2 seasons out of him. Definitely.
Yes,
I think he would do well.
This is my issue is we were in that same position as what you're at right now. That at the start of the season, we were looking for that younger striker like Sesko, Voltamada, and then we also
younger one.
No, but we've done the tactic that you guys are trying to do now, where you also get a experienced centre back in with him, which is what we did with Voltamada and Wissa. We were looking at either Voltamada and Watkins or Voltamada and Wissa. The problem was what Villa was wanting is like between 60 to 70 million.
Yes, it wouldn't be that.
That's my problem is for his age, it's too much. The camera's gone low.
It does that on the regular, doesn't it?
It does. But the issue is,
you can still hear me though, yeah? Sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
I feel like everyone's going to have to go international.
Potentially.
In the wise words of Pitbull. Which, like, to be fair, I don't have a problem in that. I think going international for players is actually probably better because it's much cheaper. Like, the Premier League tax is just insane. Of course, I would love to get Elliot Anderson back, but I don't see us paying anywhere near the likely asking price of 100+ million. So yeah, so I would love to know kind of what everyone's thinking in the comments about their own teams, like who they think they would need, like what sort of positions they need strengthening. Because like I said, from the Newcastle point of view, we don't really need a striker. We definitely need a right winger, and then an attacking midfielder, and then sort of the defensive side of things. So is in the sense of a lot of people are going to need reinforcements. We need reinforcements, I guess, in positions that maybe other teams don't necessarily need them in, which could help us. But I have no problem in us going, because to be honest, I don't want to buy, say, a first team right back and left back. I want someone that's going to be secondary to Tino Livramento and Lewis Hall, but that they have the ability to come in whilst they're out. That's kind of where I'm looking at. So they aren't expensive right back and left backs, because they're going to be they're not going to be the starting.
Yeah, they're more for bench options.
Yeah,
well,
they're more,
before we go into everybody's transfer window, I do want to go through all the matches, because I know you want to talk about Newcastle, but we want to talk about all the well, actually, I don't want to talk about my team, but we are going to talk about everyone. But I did, just before we go into the rest of the matches, I did see some people saying, so Andrew was saying that he does not think a lot of Watkins. Watkins would not be for him. I did see Twisted saying that he wouldn't pay more than 25 million. I'd probably stretch like the prices these days. I'd probably maybe go 35. I wouldn't go more than that for his age, to be quite honest with you. And I did see Alama here is Alama doesn't often get to see us live, is always in the comments after the shows, always leaving opinions, love to see it, and has actually managed to catch us live. So is wondering, could Watkins play it for longer than 2 seasons? I mean, it's possible. The problem is that you don't know, because the fitness and the longevity for each player is so individual. It's so like it's possible, but we don't know if it's probable. I don't know enough about him. He's not particularly injury prone, but you don't know. So I wouldn't want to bank on more than that, to be honest.
You know why I would say that he probably wouldn't last more than 2 seasons is because if you look at a player, you typically know what they excel at and what makes them the player they are. Watkins is kind of playing along the defensive line and being able to run in behind them with pace. Is at the age of 34, so in 4 years' time, going to have that pace? Likely not.
No, and I think striker is one of those positions you tend not to, other than like outliers like Cristiano Ronaldo. Like if you're a midfielder like Paul Scholes, you can change your game. You can play your game in a different way. You can be more aware of what's happening around you, and you can be mentally a step ahead. But I think in a striking position and an attacking position, it is much harder. We did have Andrew saying that Liverpool need a centre back and a forward left winger, and Wills wants Semenyo, so leave him alone, everybody. But before let's not go too sidetracked, because we are so easily distracted. I want to go through these matches. So basically, you're not worried necessarily about the result or the match itself. You're worried about being able to sustain that going forward because of the injuries. Is that more or less?
I'm worried about the way we're going about games, to be honest. Like like I said, what we're doing a lot, we have a very high intensity gameplay where we look very good. Like we look insane on the ball. We do this one-touch passing. We create great chances. We'll eventually score those chances. Mm-hmm. We then sit back off the ball and invite pressure. That's where my issue is we're not going to try and close out games. We're not pushing high intensity like we're used to. We're creating these issues that it's not helping us, and that, in my problem, is the not sustainable part. So, like I said, the 3-1 scoreline was kind of flattering, to be honest, because
fair.
I think, like in the game, right, Joe Linton probably should have had a second yellow card and got sent off.
That's not good.
Burnley also headed the ball. Nick Pope stood still. It went over his head and hit the crossbar. He didn't even try and jump for it. So that's what I'm saying this is what I'm saying is that the 3-1 scoreline is fairly flattering, because we more than likely should have had a red card and probably scored a second goal. And that was before the third goal went in. And I don't know, Lou, if you saw the third goal, what happened. Martin Dubravka came running out of his box to get the ball. There was basically a very big confusion between the Burnley defender and Martin Dubravka. Martin Dubravka passed it out. That went to Bruno Guimaraes, who shot from 30 yards out into an open goal. So the 3-1 scoreline, very, very, it looks a lot better than what it was. And then the second goal from Johan Wissa, we shot about 5 times into a net and it kept on bouncing off Burnley players, goal line clearances until it eventually went in. I am not even joking. Apart from the first goal, it was a shithousery game. So
essentially, you didn't win the game by skill. You won the game by luck, is how you feel, which is what is hard then because it doesn't feel sustainable going forward.
I mean, put it like this way, Lou. When we scored our third goal, instead of the chance being for Bruno, we were chanting Martin Dubravka, our old goalkeeper's name, and saying Martin Dubravka, one of our own. That was our chance. That's how bad our chants were. Our chants were for Burnley players rather than Newcastle players. That's how shit we were. And
I mean,
Semenyo had a 5.4 in the ball.
Semenyo had a 5.4, wow. And so that was my next thing. Oh, yes, I can. So Wills is looking for the Newcastle stats on the screen. So we are going to jump to Chelsea Bournemouth next. But since we are talking about Newcastle, let's just pull up the stats because you ask and we listen. So here we are. On the left-hand side, so the green is Burnley. On the right-hand side, the blue is Newcastle. Here you can see the attack momentum. It does look at the start of the first half and the end. So by the look of this, you started and ended the first half well. The second half was a lot Burnley.
So look at that, Lou, by the way. Exactly my point, even on the attacking momentum on the left.
Yeah.
Look at this. We scored 2, and then we just sit off and invite pressure.
Yeah,
until they score.
You didn't have the ball at all in this period. Like, there's not even a little one.
No, you if you see other games, this is exactly what happens, and it's a worrying, it's a very worrying trend that it's causing us to concede all the time, and because we don't have a set defense, it's causing errors. Like you think, right, Lou? If we have a defense that's week in, week out the same, that's why we started this season off with the best defense in the league. But then when we start getting injuries, it drops because if I play, say if Tino Livramento plays next to Malik Chow every game, they will know where each one of them are going to be at different points in the game. If you have the likes of, now you've got Miley next to him, he's not going to know where he's going to be. So it just creates uncertainty and you can't just pass the ball without like facing one way. If I play with someone week in, week out, I could face one way, pass the ball to the wing, and know a player is going to be there because it's patterns of play. You know where they are. Whereas this is the stuff that is the issue. And like even you got the stats up here. The expected goals for us was 2.3.
Yeah, that
is completely that's basically just a lie because.
So you had 7 big chances apparently.
Yeah, so this is where it's an issue. So you know when I said the ball was ping ponged at the 7-minute mark when Johan Wissa scored, just right press. Do you see the right arrow next to the 90+3 at the bottom?
Yeah.
So this will show you where they are. So
okay.
Basically,
so that's whichever one. That's him. That's Joe Linton.
So that's Joe Linton's shot. Which, by the way, his XG of that goal that he scored was 0.06 on the left.
Yeah.
So that's how difficult it was that he actually scored that goal. If you go forward, this is where, like I said, the ball got ping-ponged so much because
it was all around the place here.
So that was Barnes' shot. So that wasn't even the goal. There's about 3 shots here that you'll see, which adds up XG. See there, Bruno.
I see them all. There's loads of them.
If you see that
that
right there is an XG of about 1.5.
To the goal. So there's about 3 bounces before the goal. Right. I'm with you now. So that's basically added better, more convincing performance for the next match.
Yeah. So if you think about that adds about 1.5 XG just itself. And there was 1 goal in that one bit. So there's you can always look at XG as a figure, but context does prove a point. So when at that point at 7 minutes we've got about a 2 XG, it means that we've got about like 0.5 or whatever for the rest of the game. We've not been that good.
That's fair. Right. Did you watch Chelsea Bournemouth at all?
The Chelsea Bournemouth, I saw bits.
So
I saw the Semenyo. I saw the Semenyo tackle.
Okay. Well, I watched the whole first half, because you know the way they're staggered, some of them started earlier than others. So I got the whole first half of Chelsea Bournemouth. And as I said, that's when all the fun stuff happened. All the goals were in the first half. So that's obviously the most important part of the whole game, is the bit that I saw. But building into this match, like there was a lot even coming into this match, because the last time you and I were live, I said Bournemouth were not doing well. They were absolutely dreadful. They weren't performing at all. It was just all horrendous, okay? And Chelsea were 1 win in 7. They're 1 win in 7, after this game. So they were one win in 6 before. It's likely to be Semenyo's last game for Bournemouth. Maresca is under serious pressure. All we've heard all week is that potentially, you know, he's going to be leaving. He's not going to be staying. They're going to sack him. He's going to quit. It's all a hullabaloo. So neither team was looking particularly good going into this match, but I did think that Chelsea were going to come out on top overall. And it had been no wins since October for Areola, considering he was one of the new hot managers. You know, Glasner and Areola were the two new cool kids, you know, for the managers this season. It's all just started to fall a little bit apart. Now, we have Albi in here saying he's not under serious pressure at all. Well, all over social media, all over the YouTube space, all over everywhere I look, he's under pressure and everybody's talking about him losing his job. So maybe you wouldn't find that under pressure. I do. But, you know, to each their own. But Paige is saying here that she didn't get to watch the match, but from what she heard, Bournemouth goals thanks to Garnacho letting his man walk and do nothing. One of them was a completely free header, while Garnacho stood front row and watched the chap head it in.
And then slammed the ground.
Yeah, after literally just standing and watching him. Yeah. But Caicedo, one of the first things, so just we are going to get to Semenyo, but one of the first things that happened is a Caicedo yellow card 4 minutes into the match. Now, it was a card he needed to take. It was a tackle he needed to make. It was an important tackle. It snuffed out an attack. But it also means that he is going to miss the City match, which obviously Chelsea are not going to want, because I think yesterday was the last match. You know the way it's a 19-match cutoff, so halfway through the season it's the cutoff. So he actually got his yellow where he will now be suspended. And yesterday was the last match that it could have happened in. So if he hadn't got the yellow yesterday, he would have gone back to 0. But because he got it yesterday, he's going to miss the City match. And obviously then he's on a yellow for the whole rest of the match. To be fair, it was costly, but it was, in the moment, it was the right decision. He did need to make the tackle. It was the right thing to do. And if he hadn't done it, people would have been like, why didn't he? Do you know what I mean? So look, it's expensive consequences, but I do think he needed to make it in the moment. 1-0, very, very early on. Let me see. I'll scroll down so everybody can see. Let me see. So just, there's his yellow card. Then straight away, 1-0. Do you know what I mean? Bournemouth, not expected at all. Then we have the penalty. So this is the one for Semenyo. Now, I've already seen some people in the chat saying it wasn't a penalty. Let me scroll. LB again is saying Semenyo tackle was never a pen. Let me see. I thought I saw somebody else mention the penalty. Maybe I didn't. Folks, anybody? Yes, so LB is saying never a pen. If anybody else watched it, did anybody else think it was or was not a penalty? Ash, have you seen any replays or stills or anything of the...
I've seen the quote unquote shoulder barge that was given as a penalty.
But it wasn't given for the shoulder. It was given for the leg.
Right, yeah.
So he caught him in the leg. Is the back of Semenyo's leg hit Estevao's leg? And they're saying that the contact on the leg is what tripped him, basically. So they didn't give it for the shoulder. They gave it for the leg.
So
I'm going to see. I have a picture of it, but I want to see if I can find it for you.
So I don't know. You basically, I had a debate. Me and Kane had a debate about about this with Quest
Okay.
because this exact tackle, in case you
Uh-huh.
in case you remember, happened on us as Gordon Chalobah did that on Gordon. Do you remember when he came flying across the box?
The penalty you should have had.
Yeah, the one that we didn't get. So
Yeah.
I asked Quest because he said this is a Stonewall penalty, is what he said.
Wouldn't go that far.
So and then he said he still doesn't think the one on Gordon was a penalty. In my opinion, the one on Gordon is more of a penalty than this one.
I agree with that. Now, they weren't the same though. So I obviously I saw both matches. I saw both tackles. The one that you should have got was like it was Gordon was just taken out. Like he literally just it wasn't even, and it definitely wasn't shoulder to shoulder. Anyone that thought that was shoulder to shoulder needs their eyes tested. They can borrow my glasses. It was definitely more of a penalty. It was far more robust. Like he properly flung him, like he went at him, and his only aim there was to take him out. With Semenyo and Estevao, what happened was basically the two of them were running, and Estevao was ever so slightly ahead of Semenyo, and the front of Semenyo's leg basically grazed the back of Estevao's leg, and he tripped. And so what they said was that the contact was the reason he fell, and therefore it was a penalty. What happened was VAR reviewed it and then asked the on-field referee to review. But sure, you know when that happens, the on-field referee, I've only seen one instance where the on-field referee actually then stuck with his own decision, didn't change it. So you kind of know when they're going over that they're going to change it. LB there is agreeing that the Gordon one was made more of a penalty. I personally, to be honest, I thought it was a bit soft. I did think it was a bit soft. There was contact. The leg touches the leg. I did think it was a bit soft. If it was given against my team, I think I would be a bit raging. They gave their explanation. From what they said, it's part of the rules. There was contact. The contact caused the fall. Therefore, he didn't get a shot off. The contact was really minimal. It was really minimal. It was like a graze. I thought it was really harsh. If it was against my team, I'd have been a bit raging, being really honest with you.
I'm looking at it now, and it literally looks like Estevao puts his own leg across his other leg. It looks like he trips himself up.
No, Semenyo does touch him. There's contact. Semenyo's leg, the front of Semenyo's leg definitely touches the back of Estevao's 100%. But it's minimal. It's literally like brushed past. It was like really minimal.
Yeah.
I thought it was really soft. I mean, if the rule is the contact brought him down, therefore it's a penalty. I mean, you can't argue with it because that's what the rule is. And the contact definitely did bring him down, because I think the momentum when you're moving, and because they were kind of crisscrossing, they were moving in slightly different directions, I do think the contact with the momentum did bring him down, but it was such minimal contact. It wasn't like, see with your one, like your man that went at Gordon, his only aim was to take Gordon out and get him away from it. You know, that wasn't the case yesterday. Semenyo was trying to play the ball. They were both running for the ball. They brushed against each other. Estevao come off the worst. I thought it was really soft. If it was my team, I'm going to take it. If it's not my team, I'm absolutely furious it's given. But out of the two, definitely, Gordon's was a penalty. So my thing would be, if that one was given, to reiterate, I cannot understand why the one on Gordon wasn't, because the difference in the level of contact and the difference in the fact that the player making the contact was actually playing the ball or not, it was night and day. The one against Newcastle was so much worse. The thing is, once the penalty's awarded, you kind of know what's going in. Cole Palmer, I'll be honest, it wasn't the most confident penalty I've ever seen him take, but look, he puts it in. They're 1-1 then at that stage. And then there was a point here before it goes 2-1 where Sanchez made an unbelievable save, unbelievable save. And I know Sanchez is a bit of a mixed bag. He was a mixed bag even in the match, to be honest with you. He was making some things I was like, what are you doing? And then he was making some unbelievable saves. But he made a really, really good save, because what I literally wrote was, excellent save by Sanchez to keep it at 1-1. That's literally what I wrote down. And then, sure, it carries on, and eventually it goes 2-1. Now, that was a really good goal, but also it was Enzo Fernandez's 100th appearance, and he linked up well with Garnacho. Garnacho did quite well here, and I would often say, because obviously we had Garnacho at United, he's always been a much better attacking player. He's a much better attacking player, and I actually feel like from he's gone to Chelsea, from the matches I've watched at Chelsea, he seems to be less selfish than he was when he was with us, and I think that's probably being drilled out of him slowly but surely. So they did link up well together. It was a goal for Enzo Fernandez on his 100th appearance. It's 2-1 to Chelsea, and you're going, right, well, that's the end of that. You know, Bournemouth started well, they get an early goal, the penalty's given against them. It's just, this is what's going to happen. This is the rest of it now. But literally, so it was 4 minutes later, if I'm right. Let me check what the times is there, because I have it way on my screen. So yeah, 4 minutes later. So from the 27th minute, Kluivert scores, but he scores from, there was a long throw in. Let me see who did the throw in.
I think it was Semenyo.
It was. That's exactly who it was. So Semenyo, really long throw, and it goes about a little bit, and then Kluivert is just at the back post, completely unmarked, with Garnacho watching him, and he scores. Like, now, there was a bit of rough and tumble. I think sometimes, and I'm going to talk about this very much in terms of Emi Martinez, I think sometimes some of the goalkeepers at the minute, they're getting far too involved with the rough and tumble in the box. They're not commanding the box. They're more concerned with a bit of rough and tumble with one or two players than watching the ball and actually seeing what's happening. I'll be there saying Semenyo's long throws are deadly. Well, this one definitely was, because it got to the goal. Let me see. Gav is in the house. Nice to see you, Gav. We haven't had you in a live for a little while. Nice to have you. Nice to have you. But yeah, so 2-2. And I actually thought, to be honest, from what I saw, because as I said, I watched the whole first half, it seemed like a fair reflection of the game. It was very back and forward. Both goalkeepers were involved. The only question mark was the penalty. I thought it was very soft. I thought it would be raging. I would be raging if it was given against United. Obviously, if it's your team, you're taking it, but I would have been raging. They probably did follow the letter of the law, but I just think, to be honest, a lot of the laws just need an overhaul, because I think it was a lot of the rules, the way they're interpreted, doesn't really actually implement the intention of the rule, if you get me. So I do think the issue
is with rules like this, it opens it up to interpretation. It allows people to use rules in different ways, like how the fact one referee could see the challenge on Anthony Gordon and say that is not a penalty, but then see something like this and say it is a penalty.
Yeah,
it's just there needs to be black and white, and it isn't.
And I mean, the level of contact, it was drastically different, like really drastically different.
Yeah. You
go.
But for me personally, I think it definitely is not a penalty at all. This one, like I don't think. I think Esteval does more to himself than what Semenyo actually does. If I'm being honest.
To be fair, yeah, they do. They come together, and it's not even a lot of contact. I'm just looking at something here, because I saw somebody say something, and I don't know if it was true or if it was said in sort of jest. So I want to check it before I actually say it. But like that makes it, I know LB was saying that Enzo Maresca isn't actually under any serious pressure, but I mean, that's one win in 7. That is one win in 7. Yeah. So he's any manager is going to be under pressure.
Yeah, 100% under pressure. Like that can't even be debated. Any pressure is. As a Newcastle fan, we're getting told Eddie Howe's under pressure. So
do you know what it is? See, when it comes to Eddie Howe, he does seem to be under pressure, but from everybody except Newcastle fans, to be quite honest with you.
yeah, you say that, but what True Geordie's tweet was
oh yeah, I did see that. No, I can't find it. I was looking to see how many yellows have Chelsea this season.
LB's asking, is Eddie Howe under pressure? For me, he's not. Yeah, for me, he shouldn't be under pressure. As a Newcastle fan, I don't think he is under pressure. However, there are people like True Geordie, who is also a Newcastle fan.
Yeah.
Who is basically saying he should be under pressure, which I completely disagree with. And I have the likes of rival fans that say you should be getting rid of Eddie Howe because he's not going to take you to win the title. And again, I'll say this. He's definitely got to the end of the season for me.
Yeah.
I want to see how we end. If we keep going the way we are, he'll be asking questions, definite. But I'm not going to be at all during this season asking for Eddie Howe to get sacked, unless if we somehow lose the next 18 games or 19 games in a row. Then yes, I'll be saying that. Because that's flipping Wolves level. But of course,
what I will say though, like I know you personally, and I know Mama Flossie feels very similarly to you. Yous would both say he's not under pressure. He shouldn't be under pressure. He's had a tough time. He's injuries. He's done so much for your club. He has the leeway. He's not under pressure. But with the amount of rival fans and some Newcastle fans on the other side talking about him in the way that they are, saying that he should be under pressure, saying that, you know, he's not doing good enough. I do think he's under pressure, to be honest with you. I think
you mean from rivals?
From both.
Well, right.
I think there's a section of your fan base, like you and Flossie, that don't put him under pressure. And I think a lot of Newcastle fans are in that segment. However, I do think there is a segment of Newcastle fans that do feel he should be under pressure, that don't feel he's doing good enough. And then there's a large proportion of rival fans saying he should be under pressure with the money that's been spent, with the Newcastle knocking on the door in with the, you know, traditional big boys, etc., that Eddie Howe needs to be doing better. And if Eddie Howe was doing what he was doing at Newcastle at another club, he would be spoken about more. Or if one of our managers, for example, Amorim, had the money and record that Howe has, that he would be under pressure. That the reason Howe isn't seen to be under pressure by a lot of people is because he's a nice guy. So I understand what LB is saying there, that is he under pressure? And I think obviously the two Newcastle fans that I know the best are you and Flossie. So I don't see him being under a lot of pressure.
I have an explanation for this though, Lou.
Yeah.
It's so people, some Newcastle fans, a lot of rival fans, they take context completely out of this situation. What happened?
But that's because context is taken out for our managers as well.
No, but I'm saying is that this is not about Eddie Howe at all. Because you can't, again, this context cannot be applied to other clubs right now. We have not had a sporting director, apart from very recently, for 2 years. We had his nephew. Our CEO at Newcastle he has health issues. I'm going to get into it. Darren Eales had health issues and couldn't be the CEO for Newcastle basically over last season. We have a lot of issues within the club. Obviously, Amanda Stavely and Mairdad stepped down as owners of Newcastle just over half a year ago. A lot of these issues, if I told you this right now, if we had a sporting director and our team had the likes of Cunha and Buemo and potentially a different striker and stuff like that, no one will be saying this about Eddie Howe because our team would be looking so much better. I think context is so important because you cannot be relying on Eddie Howe and his nephew to be able to go out and get the signings. Of course, he's not going to be able to he's not going to be able to attract people like Mbeumo in over Man United because you guys have just got a brand new training ground. Our owners are getting a new training ground and a new stadium, but they've taken so long to announce this. So
to be fair, Ash, the surroundings at Manchester United are currently catastrophic. We also didn't have a sporting director for a period of time, and our owners couldn't find our backside with both hands. So to be fair, I don't think in that example United's a good one because we're not an attractive proposition.
Yeah, but Lou, what did
we
you
got
just
those
do?
players because they were childhood fans off
You
our
just
club.
bought a 50. You say that, but in the at the start of the transfer window, you unveiled a £50 million new training ground.
Yeah, but God knows where they got the money for that. Let's face it, Ash. They're probably.
But this is what I'm saying is like all of this stuff.
Lady or something.
That's like you guys have the ability. I mean, you bought bloody flipping Dan Ashworth off us.
And that was a raging success.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is,
I mean,
we had Dan Ashworth for a couple of months, went on flipping garden and leave to you guys. We then brought Paul Mitchell in, who again had massive arguments with Eddie Howe when they didn't agree on it, so he got sacked. We've had a lot of issues that it's been very bad ownership and the way we are. But that's why I don't then put that on Eddie Howe. I want to give him time and see, do you know what? This isn't his fault. Let's get actually good sporting directors. Let's get a CEO again. We've got a sporting director now, Ross Wilson. But let's actually just give some time to these people, see what they can do, and then we'll go from there. Because if we have all the support system around Eddie Howe, what he needs, we'll be in a different position. Like Mbeumo, you know how good he is.
Yeah.
Cunha needs to stop shooting because that boy cannot flip and finish for anything.
No, what he needs to do is be a bit more, he can score all right. He just needs to figure out where the goal is because apparently since he joined us, he's forgotten. But right, we've got distracted again. Look at that. The chat derails me every time. Ash, they do this to me all the time. I come in here, I have an agenda, I know what I'm going to talk about, I have a list of things, and they distract me, these people. But the thing I saw, and I wanted to check if it was true because it sounded mental, Chelsea have more cards than goals this season.
That does not surprise me. They had,
seven. Mental.
I mean, they had 7 red cards in 15 games. So
right,
that would not surprise me at all.
Now, I just want people to know I'm not making this up, right? So somebody said, I was in a chat somewhere, I was on all the channels, so I don't know which one it was. But let me pull this up, okay? So can you see that one now? So this is, I'm in Chelsea. I'm in statistics, Premier League 25-26, goals scored 32, okay? And then if we go over here and we go to, this is on Transfer Market. Let me zoom. I zoomed a little bit too much. And then we go to Chelsea. They have 34 yellow cards. And then this one got changed to a red card. Either way, they've got 52 cards. They have a lot of cards. They have 34 yellows and they've only 32 goals, plus their reds. So they've got a lot. But they've literally got more cards than goals this season, which I just thought. And it's even extra funny because Liam Delap must have been on the pitch about 30 seconds and he got a yellow. Like, honest to God, the man is...
Do you want to know something else?
Oh, go on.
We've had the same cards as goals.
Oh, my goodness. Now I know we've definitely had more goals than 23 because we 26 the other week. So we're all right on that one. But I mean, that is absolutely wild because I literally thought somebody's made that up. Someone thinks they're funny. They've made it up. But no, it's 100% true. So when you were talking there about Eddie Howe, this is what I was looking up. It's not that you weren't dazzling me with your insight, but this was the mentalest thing I'd ever seen, and I had to check if it was real. But yeah, the fact that obviously
is that actually a surprise? Like, you think, but you think in a game, you're probably your team's gonna get a few yellow cards a game.
True.
So.
True.
In all honesty, I feel like that's probably a very normal stat to have. Like,
well, what it sounds like is Manchester United are very disciplined because we've more goals than cards. Go on, team, we can do it. But
you think like a lot of defenders do tactical fouls in games where
true.
always get yellow cards. So yeah, it doesn't surprise me.
It just sounded like a lot when it was
it sounds kind of mad.
But Next one, Forest Everton. I did not watch this. I actually thought Forest could win, and if not a draw. I did not see it being 2-0. So
Yeah,
they
I didn't
did
see
quite
this.
well. I definitely didn't see 2-0 Everton. So well done, Everton. Unexpected. What I didn't expect was West Ham. So we were talking the
What
other
did
day.
I say? I said
Nuno going to get
3-2.
sacked? You did.
I said
What?
3-2 for this game.
We were talking, is Nuno going to get sacked? Like, there's West Ham down there, even after that, 14 points, still in the relegation zone, still on minus 17 goals. But somehow they came along, and there's Brighton, 25 points. I mean, they're 11 points ahead of them, and they did really well. It was 2-2, but I mean, they did really well. I don't think, there's our Kate. And lads, don't forget, Kate and Jimbo, after myself and Ash finish up, Kate and Jimbo are going to be live on their channel from 8:30. If anybody's at a loose end for New Year's Eve, get on over there. There's always a bit of crack. I would redirect, except for I don't know how to do that. And honestly, if I try, I might break YouTube. So she's in the chat there. 8:30 they'll be live, guys. Do go and check them out. Lovely lot over there. And obviously some of you will already know them. But yeah, so West Ham definitely surprised Brighton. Brighton 14th is not looking hot. But I mean, this was a real surprise result for me. Not so much for you, but for me it was a surprise result. But yeah, I thought West Ham did really well, and it just makes you think Nuno probably is going to live to fight another day. Every point matters, and we are slowly making our way to my club. But we're doing it stone last because I don't want to talk about it. Arsenal, Aston Villa. Ash, what in the name of God happened to Aston Villa? Aston Villa,
Christ.
who were on an 11-game win streak.
Yeah.
Record-breaking. Unai Emery facing Arsenal, his nemesis. And can I just say, did you see that Unai Emery literally run off the pitch so we didn't have to shake Arteta's hand?
Did you see what he said in the post-match review?
It was cold outside and I wasn't waiting. He was like speaking Gonzalez down the tunnel.
Ran. He was like...
he looked literally, so Arteta wasn't there and then run down the tunnel.
That I could not believe that in his post-match review, how he basically said that he waited for him and he took his time, so he went down the tunnel. Bro just sprinted down. Like he did not wait. That was
no, he didn't. And literally, he looks. You see him. He sort of looks over. He's looking to see if Arteta's there, and when he sees the coast is clear, he runs down.
Yeah, he legs it.
I've never seen anything like it. And to be fair, because I know we don't normally give Arsenal a whole lot of props on this channel, Madfoot is in the house, so we're going to be fair because I like Madfoot. Madfoot says Arteta would be shot if he did that. And to be fair, there are certain managers that get treated differently. So again, if Arteta did that, if Ruben Amorim did that, and I'm not Ruben Amorim's fan right now, I'm very unimpressed with him, but if Amorim, Arteta, anybody like that had done what Unai Emery did, they would be getting slated. They'd be getting slandered. Amorim got slandered because he didn't want to watch the penalties when he's not taking one, so he doesn't need to look. Now, I would prefer if he was looking, but you get what I mean. See if Pep did that, like what Pep did with the cameraman. Oh, it's just Pep being Pep. It's like, well, you don't know because you're not a wee girl, but see when you're in school and you're only wee, and one of the wee boys hit you, and the adults say to the wee girl, oh, he only does that because he likes you. I mean, don't say stupid things. Do you know what I mean? And that's what I got. See when Pep was playing with the cameraman's headphones, and they're like, oh, it's just Pep being Pep. And I'm like, no, it's not just Pep being Pep. It's not just boys being boys. It's bad behaviour. Put him in the naughty corner. It's bold. Do you know what I mean? And I do think some managers get away with a lot more than others. And I do think if it was Arteta that had run down the tunnel after Villa had won, I think he would have been crucified. Yeah. So I do think it's only fair and right that Emery is getting called out for this, because my goodness me, you would actually just that's mortifying. If Amorim did that, I would be fuming. That is so embarrassing. And I mean, what message does that send to his players? He couldn't even man up and shake Arteta's hand. That's so cowardly. What message does that send to his players? I just thought he's the leader.
It's
and I talk
definitely
a lot about
bad.
leadership. It's bad.
It's definitely bad. He's definitely done it because of how him and Arsenal finished terms. Like, where's him the manager?
Yeah.
But by the way, quickly, just before we go fully onto the Arsenal one, because on the Brighton West Ham, it should have been 3-2 to Brighton. By the way, I don't know if you saw what happened.
No, say again.
So there was 2 penalties awarded for Brighton.
Right.
Danny Welbeck scored the first one.
Oh, okay, that's good.
He then got another one, and he went to Panenka the ball.
Oh, I did see this,
and it hit the crossbar.
I did see it.
So I just wanted to quickly say that before. Yes, what an absolute muppet. And the goalkeeper nearly flipping sparks him out, which if he did, I would have absolutely laughed. But yeah, so it actually should have been 3-2 to Brighton. But yeah, anyway, back onto this game.
Gav saw it.
Yeah,
Gav saw it.
we could not skip over that because when I saw that, I was speechless.
I actually had completely forgot about that. Lads, with Lozies in the house this evening, you can tell there's nothing else happening. They're all in here chatting with us, Ash. They're not normally all in here on a Wednesday, let me tell you. Please do smash a like, folks. It's really, really appreciated. We love having you here. I see all the banter going on in the chat. I love the fact that it's all mixture, different clubs. Everybody's getting into it. And that's why we're trying to talk about everybody's teams as much as possible, as much as we know, because we don't want to talk about things we didn't see. So thank you so much for all being here. We really, really appreciate it. Listening to us waffle, getting involved, chatting back to us, having a giggle with us, really enjoying it. What I will say, did you see this match, Ash? Like, did you watch it, or it was kind of in the background?
Which one? The Villa Arsenal one?
Yeah.
So I had obviously after the 45 minutes, I put this game on the Man United game, which thank God, to be fair, because all the goals again came in the second half of this game. So I watched both games.
One of the things, again, coming into it, so obviously when we were talking earlier for the Chelsea and Bournemouth game, we were saying like there was so much sort of narrative surrounding the game coming into it. Obviously, we've touched on it. Arsenal are bottlers. Arsenal never won the league. Always rise but never the bride. Never, fulfill their potential, etc., etc., etc. Emery going back to Arsenal. It was really Emery versus Arsenal rather than Aston Villa versus Arsenal. In then the build-up, it came out that Rice was going to be out, that he had a knee injury following on from what I think was their Brighton game. He hurt himself. Another big injury for them. Big up iNotes in the chat. There was just like Villa were on their 11-game win streak. Are Villa actually in a title race? If they beat Arsenal, who are top of the league, how can you say they're not? There was so much surrounding. There was so much, build up. There was so much story. The headlines were literally writing themselves. If Villa had beaten Arsenal, and I have to say, I thought they had a good chance of it. I really thought they were going to give them a good go. 11 games winning, not 11 games unbeaten. 11 games winning is a huge amount of games to just brush aside. Do you know what I mean? They were only 1 point behind Manchester City. Manchester City, who are always in a title race. I mean,
I will say they probably should have done. Like, in all honesty, the way that the game went, the first half, because in the first half I had the Newcastle game, and then when it started, I put the Aston Villa Arsenal game on the right monitor, and I was watching them when it was going a bit quiet in the Newcastle game, and Villa was the one that had all the chances really in the first half. Like, I would have said Watkins and stuff easily probably should have scored a couple. Granted, in the second half, this is what I was saying. I was like, if Chelsea, if I was scared that Aston Villa was going to come out the same way that they did against Chelsea, and then they would have just got absolutely demolished. They looked better.
Well, 4-1 is demolished, to be fair.
Yeah. So in the second half, it kind of went the opposite way. That it was like they just absorbed a lot of pressure. It was like the opposite to the Chelsea game, that they kind of got destroyed in the second half. Arsenal very much was the better team. No doubt. Again, I've been a bit critical on Gyökeres. Obviously, I'm going to be, because I think a team like Arsenal, who's that amazing, who I put as the top 3 teams in the world right now. I have Arsenal, Man City, and Bayern Munich as the top 3 teams in my opinion. Each one of them, you could be about in certain different ways. Arsenal, you think about their striker, but Gyökeres has not hit the ground running. But they were 100% with a better team. Of course, they managed to get a goal at the end. They probably could have got two. They had David Raya had pulled off some amazing double saves before they got the goal. But yeah, it was a game of two halves, really. It was Villa all over them in the first half, but couldn't finish. And then the second half was Arsenal absolutely demolishing them, to be honest. So you got to respect it. Although that I'm kind of surprised that that Villa had more possession than Arsenal at the Emirates. That's a very surprising stat to me.
Now, what I will say, because there was a few things, I agree with you overall. I think Villa were better at the start of the first half. I think after about 20-25 minutes, the tide was turning. Arsenal were growing into the game, and I do feel that by the end of the first half, Arsenal had fully taken control anyway. And then the second half did feel very much just Arsenal. I'm looking at it going, where in the name of God is Villa? Who is this Villa? Like, have they just? It just looked like they forgot how to play football. It looked like they were Manchester United. I felt like, and you know what I thought? Because obviously I wanted Villa to win the match. I was sitting watching it, and I was like, oh my goodness me, I've actually jinxed Villa just by wanting them to win a match, because they're playing exactly like my own team, United. It was absolutely madness. In the first half, though, Amadou Onana ended up going down. He needed kind of quite extensive treatment, and then he stayed on the pitch. He did end up coming off at half time, but I mean, it was actually, he was down for quite a bit. So I was surprised that he finished the half, but Arteta used that to kind of pull the team over, give them refreshments, update their tactics. Like, they didn't waste a minute. He was very like on the ball. As well, and this is just a personal one for me as a Manchester United fan, there was points in the game where they would show Victor Lindelof, and I'd be like, oh yeah, I forgot Victor Lindelof plays for Villa. And I do just have to wonder how they've gone on an 11-game win streak with Victor Lindelof at centre-back, because honestly, that's a miracle. That is a miracle for any team. Like, I don't get it, so credit there, because that is a mad one. But did you see the point where after Onana got like the treatment and he had been hurt and they were up and playing again, there was a clash between him and Marino? And so the two of them sort of come together, and then Marino sort of goes over the top of Onana, just the way they come together. But then, to me, it looked like Marino trailed his studs across the top of Onana's head on purpose. Now, nothing was given.
Yeah.
It wasn't pulled back. VAR said it was nothing. And the ref sort of gave them both the talking to. There was no cards or anything, but the ref sort of just spoke to the two of them, and VAR sort of said there was nothing. But I did feel like
Marino should have been sent off. We're
going to get to that. Yeah, because he should have been off.
100%. Like, I mean, the thing is that I guess is still regardless of the like. So I want to make that be sure. Marino should have been sent off.
Yeah,
doesn't 100%. Take away from the fact Arsenal should have won the game.
No, I think it's both, and I think it's important to say that. He definitely, absolutely, 100,000,000% should have been sent off. But Arsenal were by far and away the better team and absolutely deserved to win. And it's, as you say there, it's both. It doesn't have to be one or the other. But I have this here, but of course I'm not actually organised. So I'm sending it to myself, so I'll be able to put it up on the screen. So bear with me.
It's a difficult one because it's a difficult one because you never know if it would have affected the game. Like,
no, you can't say. Some teams play better with 10 men. I mean, look at what happened to Manchester United. But like that, there was the sub at half-time. So McGinn came on then for Onana at half-time. Yeah. And then, like, literally almost straight away then, it was 1-0. Hold on, and I'll pull it up to the right part for you. So you'll be able to keep talking through it while I'm... so, like, literally immediately after halftime, the goal. But you keep talking there while I try and fight with technology.
Yeah, well, so to do with the Marino situation, obviously, he kind of, like, hid himself between the player... He put the player and the ref on the other side. So I think the ref didn't actually see that he like pulled him down the way he did. Obviously, VAR can't get involved in something like that because they only get involved if it's a straight red and a yellow card. Which
I find a bit silly. If they can be involved in red cards, then I think they should also be involved in yellows, a second yellow that can be a red. Because I mean,
I agree.
The same thing. They should be able to, and it's a rule I would change. Just why let's come up.
No. I that's why I agree with VAR with stuff like that. I think there needs to be some small tweaks in certain places. Like with that, they should be able to get involved if it means that there's a second yellow card likely to be handed. Again, it's one of those things. Have they done it because they don't want to ruin the spectacle of the game? You never know, because for some reason,
be relevant.
And this is my problem: is I find it so stupid that referees always struggle to give second yellow cards to players when if that was just a tackle on someone who didn't have a yellow, it would give them a yellow. So I always think if a tackle is a tackle that should be a yellow card, they should be given it, even if it leads to a red. That's why I said the exact same with the Joe Linton one. He should have had 2 yellow cards and it being a red. I'm someone who's always consistent with this stuff, whether it's my team or not. So yeah.
Lucky's in here. Lucky is a United fan, and he's not talking about the match. He's just saying Galatasaray can have Ugarte because there is very, very strong links that is moving forward and that there is a move for that. And I just wanted to give that a shout out because he is correct and right. Madfot being very fair as an Arsenal fan, saying Marino should have got sent off. As we can see there, he's literally trying to rip his arm off his body. He's 100% that should have been a yellow card.
Yeah.
That's a yellow card if he's not already on one. But as Madwood said, look, it wasn't given. They were the better team. They deserved to win. I actually think I would be more like Arsenal did what they were supposed to do. They turned up, they played well, they did their job. Emmy, is it Martinez or Martinez? Is it Emmy Martinez?
Martinez.
Either way. Grand. He had a mare. He had an absolute mare. I was watching him. And there was several times in the match where I thought, oh my God, is this Aronana?
The Gabriel one is bad.
He made a mess of it. And was it which goal was it?
It was the Gabriel one, wasn't it? With the one where he went to catch the ball.
So the first goal, which was the Gabriel ball, I've literally written this down because I knew I forget I forget everything. I have to write things down because if I don't, I'll forget they ever happened, okay? And so I wrote down, Martinez is too busy pushing and shoving while the corner's being taken and then missed catching the ball.
That was so bad.
On the second one, which was the Zubimendi goal, so when it went 2-0, it was a pass from Odegaard straight through, line breaking, very, very good pass, like really good pass. Zubimendi obviously scores the goal. But to me, Martinez come running out, but he doesn't make himself big. He sort of comes out in the same size. You know when a keeper comes running out, they come running out and they make themselves massive to try and cut off the angles and hide as much of the goal as possible. So I'm expecting him like this. And he's not a small man, but he was just really small. He didn't make himself big enough. And I thought, if you're going to run out, make yourself big. If you're not going to make yourself big, you might as well stay where you are and just try and save it. Do you know what I mean? So I thought actually for the first 2 goals, I thought he was brutal. At that point, that's when Marino should have had his second yellow. But they were already 2-0 up. Villa were already folding. So to me, I don't think it would have, we can never know, but I don't think it would have actually changed the outcome of the game. I think Arsenal were already doing so well. And what I wrote down here was Villa are so very underwhelming. Now, that might be partially because I had such high hopes for them, but I think 11 games and a title race, you're expecting a bit more. And they just weren't very good. So I think for every bit as good as Arsenal were, Villa were just as bad. And I can understand why Emery was embarrassed, because if I had coached that, I'd be embarrassed as well. But I would have shook Arteta's hands because I thought it was bad. Also, again, I just want to check. So while we're here, I am pretty sure until like the 90th minute, Villa didn't have shots on target. There was just no shot. It was brutal. Let me see. Total shots. I want to see shots on target, wee friend. How do I see that?
Shots on target.
Oh, that's not the one. Did I go past it?
You're not showing the screen.
Oh, am I not? Oh, whoops. Can you see it now? Let me see. Oh, sure, I've clicked the wrong button. Silly sausage. I'm asking you to help me and nobody can see what I'm looking at. So I can see total shots. Why can I not see shots on target? Because I feel like it's normally there. Isn't it not? Oh, here. Total shots on target. 3 shots on target, okay? They came after the 91st minute. So Villa had a shot in the 91st minute, and I thought the commentator said that was Villa's first shot on target, and I was like, that cannot possibly be true. But sure, then after that, so that counted as 1. Then Watkins scored the goal was 2, and then I'm pretty sure they had another one in, because there was quite a bit. There was 8 minutes extra time. I think all 3 of their shots on target came after the 91st minute.
That first one you're talking about, they did a shot that David Raya saved. It bounced back to the middle of the goal, and then he did a double save then, and then he did a save again.
Yeah,
and then Ollie Watkins then scored. Yeah, it was
by the 91st minute, Villa hadn't had a shot on target.
That really surprised me.
Absolutely terrible.
I mean, but to be fair, it does say like they hit the woodwork twice, and hitting the woodwork doesn't count as a shot on target.
No, and to be fair, a shot on target hitting the woodwork, to me, you're pretty bloody close, so it's close enough to me. But I mean, it's not like I can't put together the Villa that were going into this match and the Villa that turned up to play. I cannot correlate the two. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, it does surprise me. I mean, like I said, if you count those 2 ones where it hit the woodwork, that'd be 5 shots on target, which looks a lot better. But yeah, I mean, to be fair, I'm surprised Villa had the most possession. Granted, I mean, I know it normally happens if like a team obviously gets some goals, they end up just sitting back just to kind of reserve energy and stuff. That's why, to be honest, I don't think if Marino got sent off, it would have mattered, because Arsenal's incredibly good defensive. I don't see it making a massive difference, but. Yeah, no, I get what you mean. I don't know. I think Villa definitely underperformed what people were thinking.
Yeah.
However, there was warning signs of that anyway, because, or if you go through a lot of their wins, they were all just wins by like 1 goal and stuff. They weren't like they weren't dominating teams.
This was a big one, because I think Villa were one of the teams that could have undone them, and I think a lot of people, probably me included, were waiting for Villa to win this match so they could say, that's it, Arsenal's going to tumble, Villa's going to win the league. There was a lot of people, those headlines were written, I guarantee you there was stories written, ready to just hit send, and Arsenal smashed them. Now, what I will just say, because I saw Gav was asking who was up front, so I've just put the lineups on the screen. And actually, to be fair, if you look at it, SofaScore agree with me, Emi Martinez just had an absolute howler. They also reckon Victor Gyökeres didn't have a great one.
Yeah, he didn't.
He's just not having a lot of impact. I mean, Trossard has been very good for Arsenal this season. A number of times when I've watched them, he's stood out to me as a really, really he's just playing really well. The assist there from Odegaard was excellent. Gabriel, obviously, they love anyway. But I mean, they're quite makeshift at the back there as well. You know, they've had so many changes. And I just think this game, and I said it to you before the match, I think this game could genuinely decide the trajectory for the rest of the season. And I meant it. And I think it's really important, because if Villa had won, I would have said, well, this changes the look of the season. So I have to, whether it kills me or not, even if I'm going to cry in a corner afterwards, I have to stay consistent. I do think this was a moment in the season. This was a moment in time that really could make a difference. So I think it's important.
Do you know, I'm going to be completely honest. I've been consistent about this for a while. I still don't, this game doesn't really make a difference to me. I don't think that this is the thing that defines whether Arsenal wins or not. I already think Man City's in the seat, the winning seat, to be fair. Like, I've always said this, right? They've got 2 points different. Granted, as long as they beat Sunderland tomorrow, they have 2 points different between Arsenal. Arsenal has to go to Man City. And I've always said the team that's at home, they're probably going to be expected to win. So just on that basis, that would then actually put Man City to be ahead of Arsenal. But again, they have to win the game. I still think just because Man City has shown that they have the ability to go on these unbeaten runs, and like I said, typically Arsenal have not been blowing away teams. They've been winning by 1 goal or 2 goals or something, which could lead to more draws. I still think Man City is going to win just because they're scoring so many goals. Yeah. However, I think Arsenal is a better team as a whole because they just don't concede goals.
What I will say is I don't think this necessarily says Arsenal's going to win the league. I don't think that at all. For me, for the same reason as you, I still think City are the favourite. However, I think if they had lost this match, I would have said they're completely out.
Yeah,
City's definitely going to win. So I think the fact that they've won it, I think, is important. I think it's an important win to give them a fighter's chance. And I think like that, if they'd lost this match and then, as you say, City go on to beat Sunderland, once City are ahead, that's it. You are not catching them. When City are ahead at the end of a game week, and I don't mean in the middle of a game week before people have played, I think City definitely would have won. I think if at the end of the game week, Arsenal are still ahead of City, and they do that every game week, which is all they can do, after each game week, eventually there's going to come to a point of, well, unless Arsenal drop points, City can't catch them. Now, if you put a gun to my head and said who's going to win the league, I would say City. However, I think this win does give Arsenal a puncher's chance, which I wouldn't have given them if they'd lost it. But I think Gav puts it well there, and Gav says he expected Villa to get a result, which I did also, but Arsenal turned up and Villa just didn't. And there we are. Gwan Boffman is getting us back on topic. Happy New Year, everyone. It's 10 to 8. We're nearly there, lads. We're nearly there.
Just so you know, it's just gone past New Year in India. So.
Oh, well, happy Indian New Year to everybody. Do you know what that means? We've all got to have a drink. Now, we're going to need a drink, Ash, because I've put it off for as long as humanly possible. I have done everything I can to avoid talking about this. I think I've done quite well. I've held off for 1 hour and 6 minutes.
The kit that I like. The kit that I like that you think looks like a swimming pool.
It looks like a swimming pool with pee around the edge. It really does.
I like it.
It was brutal. It was. Do you know what it is? Honestly, like Ash, you're going to have to go first because I'm not coping very well, and I just
look.
You go first because I can't.
Like I said, I was watching. I put this game on in the second half, so I was watching after the Newcastle game finished. I then swapped that onto the Man United game, and then obviously I had the Arsenal game still playing. So I didn't see the first half. I saw from what I saw in the second half. Obviously, the manager again doing his weird tactics, bringing like 5 at the back and stuff, and having a very weird setup. I did think you probably definitely should not be drawing to Wolves. Do I put that down on the manager or the players? Like I said, I've put that more down on the players, if I'm being honest, because like I said, Dorgu should have scored. Like, he scored a late goal and it got ruled off from being offside, but he was the furthest player on the left. So he can see down the across the pitch and know if he's in front of the Wolves players or not. I put that down to him, that he should have been holding his run. Not many people have put that on him. Again, there was a potential like own goal or whatever that they nearly did, where Dalot didn't run onto the ball. Again, that wasn't great decision making from Dalot. Amarim's clearly setting you up wrong as it is, so there's problems from there. But I also see it as the players are really underperforming as well. I think Sesko's definitely, from what I've been seeing of him, definitely not been performing well at all. He's looking like a shadow of the player that anyone thought he was going to be. But then again, is that down to potentially the system? Maybe. I do think he would look better in someone like Newcastle if he came here. But again, that's on him for not coming to us. It was a weird game to watch because Man United should be beating Wolves, this Wolves team. But again, I have been saying this for weeks. This Wolves team is not as bad as what the points show. Happy New Year to everyone. Yeah. I've said this for a while. Like this Wolves team is not as bad as what the points show. In September, on my birthday, we only beat Wolves 1-0 at home. Wolves nearly should have potentially won or drew the game away at Villa. They're not as bad as what people say. Away at Arsenal, they scored all 3 bloody goals. Granted, 2 of them were own goals, but still, they scored 3 goals. I feel like this game's been... It's brought out a lot of negativity that people have had pent up about Amorim. If you guys won this game, you would be 5th halfway through the season. Right now, you're joint 5th. Guaranteed. I mean, of course, if Sunderland somehow beats Man City, they'll overtake, which, Christ, I hope that bloody does not happen. For the sake of my mental health, I cannot take that. But, like, look, I think, have you improved? Yes. The fact, like I said, you're halfway through a season, potentially go into 5. Right. Listen, we need to talk about that. Back 5 or back 4?
No, do you know what we need to do? Because I need to get this off my chest, Ash, and then we can have a rational conversation when I'm done. But I am not okay. I would just like to let everybody in the situation know, everybody in the chat, everybody that's going to watch later on, anybody that's out there in the internet, I just would like to let you all know I'm not okay. Okay? We played Wolves. Wolves, that would be the same Wolves that had 2 points. Don't you dare stick up for this man. 2 points they had, okay?
3
now
now.
they have 3, but I said before they had 2 points, okay? What? No, that's 3. That's what they have now. Right, okay? Rob Edwards was going to be sacked before this game. Do you remember we had the conversation, Ash? Is Rob Edwards going to be sacked? Are they going on to their 3rd manager of the season? Surely Manchester United are going to win this match. Obviously, my manager, okay? My manager is a moron. He's a moron. He can't. I don't think he could set up a 5-a-side team because I still think with only 5 players he would get confused. Ash, no. I actually, right, I don't know if you remember this. Somebody asked me on another channel, what would my tipping point be? And I think this wasn't long after Grimsby. And for a while, I've not been actively wanting him out, but I've been okay if he got sacked. I've been sort of like, look, it's probably his time, but I'm not like, I actively want this man out of my club. He's a complete idiot. He doesn't know what he's doing. I don't care what badges he has. He got them in a cereal box because he doesn't know what he's doing. We played 5 at the back against Wolves, and might I add, at Old Trafford. Okay? Not only was his right, and then, okay, let's just see, because I want to show you this. This is the starting lineups, okay? So, do you remember what we did really well previously, where Dorgu was over here? Do you remember that? And it was really good and it worked, and he had the best match he's ever had in a Manchester United shirt. We saw what he could do. He was wonderful. And our manager thought, do you know what? That really worked in the last match. Let's definitely not do it again. Because why would we do the thing that worked? And do you know what else we should do? We should pick Ugarte. Ugarte, who this manager knows. Ugarte, who this manager played with before. Ugarte, who this manager said only weeks ago is not the player that he knew, is not the player that he was, and is basically needs to buck his ideas up. So let's remove the thing that worked the last match. Let's add the thing that we think doesn't currently work. Let's put the striker that can't find the net and doesn't know how to head the ball on the pitch. And then when that doesn't work, because shock horror, that was never going to work, let's make some substitutions. Maybe we should put on an attacker. Maybe we should put on a player that looked dangerous the last time he was on the pitch. Maybe we should play Shea Lacey. No, we shouldn't play Shea Lacey. We definitely shouldn't put on an attacking player. We absolutely don't want players on the pitch that look dangerous. Let's put on Jack Fletcher because his dad used to play for the club. Then what we should do is we should change up our centre backs because that's going to help us score, ladies and gents. What else would we do? And can I just say, Aidan Heaven was a very important part of the first goal because it was him driving forward that gave Xerxes the opportunity to get this goal at all. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is the defender that we decided to take off, the one who was involved in the initial attack. Because why would we want any attacking players on the pitch when we're playing against Wolves? Also, Sa, this nice goalkeeper for Wolves, wonderful man that he is. I have never seen a man outrun the football so he can scoop it out of the net by about 2 centimetres. What did he become? Stretch Armstrong with those arms, just scooping. He was like scooping cat poop out of the litter, I swear to God. And when they showed it, he was about that much of it being a goal. Genuinely, the performance was dross. But I absolutely think the manager is out of his mind. He finds the things that work and then does the exact opposite. And I heard somebody say, do Manchester United fans think that he did it on purpose? Not that he lost on purpose, but what he did was he loves 3-4-3. The Pope wasn't going to make him change it until he decided to do it himself. And then he did decide to do it himself and he went to 4 at the back and it was wonderful and we played excellently and we did really well and everybody loved it. And I think what he thought to himself was, well, we can't have that. We can't have people seeing that 4 at the back works. Therefore, I'm going to show them that my 3 at the back works just as well as 4 at the back. And it's only Wolves. So if I do 3 at the back versus Wolves and we hammer them, I can say 3 at the back is just as good as 4. I think he put his pride and protecting his bloody system over actually winning. I think it was a mess. I thought his lineup was a mess. I thought his formation was a mess. I thought his starting lineup was wrong. I thought his substitutions were mayhem. They're always mayhem. I think he lost that game single-handedly.
Right. So on that, Lou, let's break down each bit. Who do you think should have been starting?
Shea Lacey, 100%.
Instead of Xerxes?
Sesko. We'd all be there as well. Arrogance, ignorance, both twisted. 2 for the price of 1. Right, let me see. Let's have a look because I'll actually answer it instead of just saying random words.
Because obviously scroll down as well because you'll see the people that was out as well.
Oh, well, they're out. They're out, so I know that. Right. This is a striker, okay? So see when Sesko, after 60 minutes, missed 2 headers and looked like he didn't know how to head the ball, because not all strikers are good at heading. Sesko was one of the ones that's bad at heading, okay? Give Cheeto a run out. It's only Wolves. If you can afford to play 3 at the back, you can afford to give Cheeto a run out. Shea Lacey, put Shea Lacey on instead of Xerxes. Now, I know Xerxes scored the first goal, but Xerxes is not playing well. He's not doing very good. I think Shea Lacey would have been far more dangerous, and I think most of the goal... Now, Xerxes did good footwork, because even after he got the pass, he had to get it out from under his feet. He turned in players and he shot, and it was a good shot. But I mean, he's doing that once every 3 months. So I would have had Shea Lacey and Cheeto Obi on the pitch.
Okay.
Both of them.
That's fair. Listen,
I wouldn't have taken Heaven off, who was actually driving forward. Like, why would you take off a player that contributed to the first goal and put on a player that's struggling for form? I like Lenny Yarrow. He's going to be fine, but he's currently struggling for form. Like, what was... I don't want to know what he was thinking, because if I get to the point where I understand these mental decisions, I've lost the plot as well.
Look, so I I agree with you and understand quite a bit of what you're saying. My issue is obviously you are suffering from injuries and obviously AFCON as well. Again, I personally, if Man United is my team,
yes,
and obviously a lot of academy players are on the bench,
yes,
I would have said my team, the way that it's been set up with, say, the formation that you've got right there with the players in that position, I would say that team should be demolishing Wolves as it is.
Like, they should. That I agree with.
Throw the manager in the bin. He's not even
Yeah.
at Old Trafford at this point.
Yeah.
You've just got that team and those players in that setup. They should be scoring more against Wolves.
I agree with that. I do agree with that.
Like the one where Jose Sarr is running back to goal and Dallo, the ball goes over Dallo's head. He's just stood there watching.
But that's another thing. Dallo hasn't been good enough for about 4 years. He's on the pitch because he's Portuguese. Nobody will convince me otherwise.
I know he's also not a striker.
Guy, but he's not very good. Yeah. We shouldn't be at the club anymore, Ash.
No. I agree. But that's why that's why how I see it as a person who's not a Man United fan, and I would like to say, from an outside point of view, I would say you guys missed chances you should have been scoring, which I put more pressure on the players. I would have said you guys should have won this game, probably 2 or 3-1, and then it would have been, do you know what? That was a shocking game. The manager is exactly the same person we already knew he was. He's already still shit. No one wants him as it is. Let's move on to January, strengthen the squad, get some actual players in, because Christ, you need them. Like when you look, the bench is 80% academy players right now. Granted, like I said, that's from AFCON and injuries. So of course you've got to take that into account, but you still need players. And then of course, if this is the manager that you can't sack, because at the end of the day, it's the owner's choice, you've got to work with what's there. We need signings in January. And then I think you'll start looking a bit better. It was a game that I was watching that I was like, you guys should have won this, and I put it down to player errors, to be honest, rather than like I said, I get to a point where I stop blaming managers when I already know they're shit and they shouldn't be at that level. I'm stop blaming Amrin because everyone already knows what he's going to give, and it's exactly this. Like he shouldn't be a manager of Man United, but what should Sesko be doing? He should actually be performing a lot better. Dorgu, like I said, should be holding his run up of the one that he actually scored. Should have been 2-1 there. Dallo should be chasing the ball into the box when the ball goes over his head and Jose Sarr's running back to goal. He should be there to try and get a tap in. Like our
striker should be able to head the ball.
Yeah,
two clear headers that he should have scored. And I agree with you. I'm not saying, now for me, Amram is a major problem. I do not think he's the only problem. I do not think if we sack Amram and we get a new manager in, it's all going to be fine. And I don't think if we sack him, it's all going to be fine. Another manager is going to come in and just be wonderful. What I don't think necessarily sacking Amram makes us better. What I think is keeping him makes us worse. Do you know what I mean? And I think that's what it is. I think that's the problem. I think the board is wrong. We knew we've lost our whole right side. We knew they were going to AFCON and we've no replacements. We need centre-backs. We need 2 midfielders. We need another striker. And our board are doing nothing about it. I don't think we're going to do bugger all in January because we never do. So I think there's multiple other problems. As you say, them players should have been able to win against that Wolves team without having a manager. And I'm not disrespecting Wolves because Wolves should have won against Arsenal. They did bloody well against Liverpool and the Liverpool fans were sweating. I do think they're better than their points total shows. And I think that they've been actively improving since Rob Edwards has come in. So I don't think they're terrible, but this Manchester United should be beating that Wolves team regardless of the manager. However, I feel that the manager set them up to fail. Why is Dorgu on the left when he performed spectacularly on the right? And I just think that's one example. So I don't know if you'll remember this, Ash, but I know we've a lot of Manchester United fans in the chat and they'll remember this. Right when Ahmad and Mbeumo started playing together, so the first match Ahmad and Mbeumo played together on the right-hand side, because they weren't playing together before. So it was Mazraoui and it was all a mix around. So the first time we started to see kind of Ahmad behind Mbumo, they were starting to link up. Do you know the dance they did? That match, right, where they were on fire. The next match, he moved them.
Yeah, to the left.
He split them up.
Yeah.
So he takes things that works and breaks them. And that's my issue. I don't think sacking him makes us better. I think keeping him makes us worse. That's my problem. So I think there's a lot of other things that need to be fixed. I think there's a lot of other things that needs to be done. Twisted, honestly, I'm not in the mood for your trolling today, so you can take that somewhere else, because I literally am not in the mood for you. But I think he makes us worse. I think he takes things that work and he breaks them. And I think he's out of his depth, and I think he's told us he's out of his depth, because he has said that he thinks that it's harder than he expected it to be. He said that. He came out and said, I think this is harder than I was expecting.
Yeah.
And when the man himself comes out and says that, I mean, that's him. He's just short of saying, I can't do that. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I've been trying to work out why he's not been sacked. And I'm not gonna lie to you, I can't. I really don't understand it. I don't know what the...
I do. They want to do something different. People, and I think it's fans like me. I didn't want to be Amram out. I don't want to be Amram out. It's like, I want him to stay and do well. I want him to be the guy. I want him to prove me wrong. I am more than happy to be wrong, because if I'm wrong, it means he's winning. Go for it. Prove me wrong. I would love it. I think so many of us are sick of changing managers. We're sick of the cycle. We just want to stick with a manager just long enough to see it through, to get through the rough patch at the beginning and see it out. And I think, to be honest, when Ineos and Sir Jim Ratcliffe come in, they're determined to be different than the Glazers. They're determined to be different than what came before. And obviously, normally at this point, he would have already been sacked. So I think they're keeping him in an attempt to show that they're different. I think the danger is when you want to keep somebody, you want to, and like what Gav's saying, when you want to do something different, when you want to give somebody the time to turn it around, to get through the rough patch and see it through to the benefit at the other side, I think the struggle then is you don't want to stick with the wrong person for the right reason. And that's what's hard. We are all at a point where we want to stick with somebody. We want to see it out, but you don't want to stick with the wrong person for the right reason. And I think that's where I'm at with Amram. I think we're sticking with the wrong guy for the right reason. And I think it's hard then.
Yeah, I agree what you're saying about sticking with someone. Of course, that's kind of how our owners have done it with Eddie Howe, and we're still doing that. Same with Arsenal, to be fair, with Arteta.
Yeah.
There's obviously there are managers out there that have clubs that have been doing the same sort of thing. Granted, is Amram the right manager? I don't think he is, and I think sticking with him for the long term isn't going to help you in any way. I mean, I think you will see improvements 100%. Like, you stick with the same manager, you will improve. You will be potentially getting towards the Champions League spots. However, is that the type of person who's going to take you to challenging the league? No. So that's where I'm like, what's the point in keeping him? Because he's not going to be the person who's going to take you to challenging. So, and that's where Man United are always going to want to be. So that's why he is. That's why you just need to get rid of him.
Yeah, I think he's got till the summer. I think no matter what happens, I think he's got till the summer. I think they'll give him till the summer.
He's got to.
Do you know what it is as well? I'll be honest. As a fan, I'm done with him. He's annoyed me multiple times. He makes terrible decisions. He makes terrible substitutions. I don't think he's the guy. As a fan, I want him out. But I don't want my club, a business, because they are a business, making decisions based on what I as a fan want. Because as a fan, I'm emotional and I don't have all the information. So while I want him out, I also don't want my club making rash decisions because I'm screaming and shouting as a fan. I don't want them to make informed, rational, well thought out planned decisions. And at the minute, they have no contingency plan and they have no backup plan because they're not planning on sacking him. So if they go and sack him now because the fans have an outcry, I think that's the wrong decision as well. I don't want them to do what I say. I want to be able to say what I think and be emotional as a fan. And I want them to act like grown-up business clubs and do their job properly. Do you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah. Look, I agree with you. Look, the problem isn't Wolves. The problem is the build-up. The problem is before Wolves, there was Grimsby. Before Grimsby, there was something else.
That's why I said.
There's always an injury. There's always a problem.
That's why I'm like, this Wolves game and the way a lot of Man United fans are reacting is more about how the manager is in total.
Yeah.
Rather than this game in itself. Because, like I said, this game in itself, I put more down to player errors. Granted, did Amorim also set the system up correct? No. He also put players in wrong positions, which, yes, you can narrow that down to Amorim. However, I also, like I said, I put down a big problem to the players not being able to finish their chances, which they should have done.
Yeah.
So it's like I said, it's a game that I think has taken a lot of things out of Man United fans that have just used it as an excuse to have a go at Amorim. Of course, it's the end of the year. If you're going to sack a manager, you'd want to do it now because you'd have a manager into the January transfer window.
Yeah.
If he's not sacked by now, you're going to want him to stay in for the rest of the season so he can get the January transfer window in, be able to actually get some signings in.
Do you know what? And I want that. Dave, Board Dave Boy put in a comment earlier on, and I don't have it anymore, but he put it in a while ago and I saw it, and he said that he doesn't want Ruben Amorim to have another penny. I disagree with that. I understand where he's coming from. But I disagree with that because you're not giving Ruben Amorim another penny. You're not spending to improve Ruben Amorim. You're spending to improve Manchester United. So what do? Not improve the team and the club because you don't think Amorim's the guy? What happens when the next guy comes in then after he's sacked? What do? Stagnate until he's sacked. So while I understand the thought process behind it, also when we had Eric Ten Hag had a veto. He had much more control over the signings that were coming in. He had much more control over the transfers that were coming in. And so I could understand not giving Eric Ten Hag any more money because he was actually a key decision maker. Amorim is not a key decision maker. He's a voice at the table. He's not a key decision maker. So if Manchester United spend money at this moment in time, it's not for Ruben Amorim, it's for Manchester United. And I don't think we should stop trying to improve ourselves because we don't necessarily think the manager is the guy. So I just thought it was important to bring in. Gav is a little bit more balanced than me in terms of, I think he still wants us to sort of back Ruben Amorim in terms of sticking with a manager. So he's saying he, as in Ruben Amorim, has to take blame, of course, but I'd back him before the same mentality foundation we currently have. And I agree with that as well. And I think that's why, till this point, I haven't been sort of shouting and screaming and emphatic about it, because when we look at Cunha, who maybe hasn't been as clinical as I would like, and Mbumo, who's obviously now away at AFCON, what I would say is the mentality they've brought in has been night and day compared to the mentality we've had before. They're humble, they're hardworking. You can see the difference in them on the pitch and how they interact with other players, how they interact with the fans. I feel like if we get more of those, so say like that, if we use the January transfer window, if we get in another one or two players with that mentality, if we, like, Lawmans has just been a revelation. He's been so good. Some of the saves, we actually could have lost that game. Lawmans made some serious saves.
He did.
Serious saves. Again, really good mentality, fighting for it the whole time, just wanting to always improve. So I think at the moment, our recruitment based on last summer, like summer just gone, has drastically improved. And I think if we continue along that line, the mentality throughout the team and therefore the squad and the club will start to improve. And I think, like, I would back that over just blame the manager, change it, give the players, the bad mentality players more power. And so I understand the calls for that as well. We don't want to just keep doing the cycle, and I don't want to keep doing the cycle, but I don't want to stick with the wrong guy because I don't want to do the cycle. Do you know what I mean? And I think we're stuck in a catch-22 there. Gav's saying, look, he just feels like he's seen the bigger picture over, the last while. And he's saying there that those players that I'm talking about are coming into a bad mentality, which will drag them down until we get rid of the old guard. And that's the thing. We need to get more out to get more in. We need to get more of the bad out to get more of the good in. Wills is saying, let me see. He's not sure about our new signings were good and have improved. A few more of them in, get the deadwood out. He could do what's needed until you're in a position to upgrade or challenge. And I think that's what a lot of Manchester United fans were holding out for. I think a lot of Manchester United fans who maybe didn't think he was the guy were like, do you know what? We'll hold out like that. We'll get more good mentality in the players. We'll get more of the bad mentality out. He might be the guy before the guy. He can create a solid foundation. He can clear out, the stuff we don't need anymore in terms of mentality and players. And he can steady the ship while we line up the guy who can take us then to challenging for Premier Leagues. And I think a lot of us were kind of there in the middle ground. But then you have a Grimsby, then you have a Wolves, then you have some of the quotes he comes out with are dreadful. Then you have the substitutions that make no sense. Then you have he's finding things that works and then refusing to use them because of his own ego and pride, basically. And then you have Twisted there saying, football won't wait for United. So can we afford to let him be the guy before the guy, or do we need to just look for the bloody guy while we're doing it? And Gav saying, yeah, so the dirty work, essentially. And I think, for me, the decision-making is a problem. For me, that I was prepared. I didn't necessarily think he was the guy, but I was prepared to hold out with him for a bit, let him do the dirty work, and kind of get us into a more stable, solid foundation situation to build on. I'm now at a point where his decision-making is so poor. I don't think he can actually build the solid foundation I was prepared to give him patience for. What I was giving him my patience on the condition that he was building this base to push off, essentially. I no longer feel that he's capable of building that base. Therefore, my patience is withdrawn. Now, as I said, I am more than happy if he proves me wrong because it means my team is winning. But I think for me, that this was the one, because even without him, the team should have won. And I actually think he added to the confusion, because I think if he hadn't been there to do that setup, the players would have set themselves up better than he did, played to their own strengths, and actually probably could have coached themselves to a win without a manager. I actually think he brought them backwards. Do you know what I mean? I think they would have performed better without him, which has to be a tipping point, I think, to be honest. Now, Twisted, I want your opinion on this. Twisted says, Amram is plenty good enough to manage a Premier League winning team. Imagine him at City or Arsenal, give him a proper squad.
I mean, he would definitely look better at Arsenal, because I don't think Arsenal's got that big of a squad. He can't really fuck up positions there because there's that many players. The thing is, he likes to do a lot of a wing-back system. Do I think City and Arsenal are that sort of teams? Not really. I don't think they're potentially... I mean, they have... City definitely have more attacking wingers. I would say potentially his system could work more for City than Arsenal, actually. Thinking about the way their wingers actually set up. But, I mean, of course, you stick him with better players, but of course any manager's going to do better. But it's like I said, is he going to do better than Pep or Arteta? No. He's not as good a manager as Pep or Arteta.
What I will say is this experience has given me more respect for Arteta, because when Arteta came into Arsenal, he took the captaincy off Aubameyang and got rid of him. He took out a lot of... They had a toxic situation not the same, but they had a toxic situation with some players, and he rode that out, and he did it well, and there wasn't as much criticism as what I see, and obviously I'm not as concentrated on Arsenal as I am at United, but it does give, for me, it gives him a bit more credit for what he has done. And maybe he won't win the Prem, and maybe he's the guy before the guy. Maybe he has built a solid foundation at Arsenal for the next guy that's going to come in. I don't know, but it does give me I have more respect for what he did at the start of his tenure at Arsenal, because look how difficult managers are finding it to do at Manchester United.
Yeah. No, I agree. So to do with this question, I've said this: if you put Eddie Howe, in as the manager as either City or Arsenal, I think he could potentially do a title push with those squads.
Yeah.
Pep or Arteta go to Man United. They would do a lot better with that squad that you've got than what Amram's doing. I think Amorim is just he's just a worse manager than probably the top 5 teams. So being like Arsenal, City, Liverpool, Chelsea, and Newcastle.
I don't know about Slot now. I don't know if
Slot won a title.
I don't care. As far as I'm concerned, that was Klopp's title. I think he took the momentum. He was basically a caretaker for that title. And the Liverpool fans can come at me. I don't care.
I agree in part on what you're saying, because I've said a similar sort of thing as well, that a lot of the players and the system and everything was from Klopp. He had to do some tweaks, so of course I'll give him some credit. Granted,
I don't think Slot.
I think Salah was a bigger part of that season.
I don't think Slot could get United to a title, and that's what we're asking of Amram. I don't think Slot could do better than Amram. Genuinely, I'm not even being smart. I really genuinely don't think Slot would do better than what Amram's doing. I think people underestimate how difficult it is to do what Manchester United need. And I'm not criticising Ruben Amorim in terms of, I know I said he was a moron. I take it back. That was a bit mean. But I don't think he's a terrible coach. But I think the job at Manchester United is so incredibly difficult. And it's getting more and more difficult with each failure. I think it would need somebody who it doesn't have to be a big, well-known household name, but it does have to be somebody who just really, really knows what they're doing and who cares more about the club than themselves. And I'll be honest, I would take Ollie back. And that's being quite frank. But I've seen some comments here, so I want to grab them. And then I want to go back to Dave's question from right at the very beginning. And then I want to let everybody go and enjoy their New Year's Eve. So Gav says, he understands what I was saying, but we were never going to change over the space of 2 or 3 seasons, which is the structure and the players we had. And I agree. Nobody was going to do it in 2 or 3 seasons. And I'm not mad at Amram that it's not finished. I'm mad at Amram that I feel like he's going backwards. That's my problem with Amram. Isn't that he hasn't completed the process. My problem is I feel like he's not making progress at all. So yeah, I agree. The rot that we had from top to bottom was never going to be done in 2 or 3 seasons. But let me
just on that. So you don't think Amram's making progress?
No, because I think for every step he goes forward, he goes backwards. I think he has made progress in terms of the mentality in the dressing room. I will give him.
I had this conversation with KJ. And because he said,
let me go through the comments and then we'll come back to that, because I have a lot of them and I don't want to, I'll lose ones from people. But so hold that thought. There you go. Wills is saying Eddie Howe might be good for United when Newcastle's done with him. Let me see. And Lucky's saying he wants ready-made players. He doesn't want more kids, developmental players at the moment, which is exactly what I said. I think we have enough developmental players. We need some older heads, some kind of mid-20s. And like that in Mbumo Cunha, more along that ilk, I think is what we need. Pep wouldn't do it. He needs a blank checkbook wherever he goes. Let me see. Twisted is saying that Arteta only has his own hand-picked squad at this point. Amram has a patchwork squad made up of all the players from the previous managers, which is very, very true. Flossie is saying Amram was loved at Sporting. He was loved. He was so loved at Sporting when he came to United. All the Sporting fans were coming to United fans and said, look, he can do it. It's going to be hard. He did it for us. It was painful, but he got it. We're so delighted to have had him. He was so loved at Sporting, absolutely 100%. How long has Arteta been at Arsenal? I think it's about 7 years, isn't it?
6
Something
years,
like
yeah.
6, yeah. Me and Ollie, I love Ollie, and I would take him back. And the reason I say with Ollie, and I'm not even being funny, is I think we need a manager who loves the club more than his own ego. That's what I was going to say. And I feel like Erik ten Hag and Amram, the last two, they've been so stuck to their own idea. They've been so stuck to making a name for themselves, of making their system work, of being, well, this is my way or the highway. They were so stubborn. They were more concerned about themselves, their own legacy, their own style, than they were about Manchester United. Ollie loved United. He didn't mind bending. He didn't mind adapting. He beat Pep consistently and not by luck. He out-tacticked Pep consistently, and he loved the club. It was always, and you know what it is? Twisted, where are you? Roy Keane, Ollie, get it in the mix, 100%. But
back playing, you mean?
I mean, I'd take that too, to be quite honest, but it'd still be better than what we have.
I was going to say, they'll probably do a job.
Gav is saying, so I'm assuming he means Arteta here. So he's had his time and patience to get where he is now. Unfortunately, our past makes it difficult for that to happen now. And I agree with Gav, and that's where I think a lot of United fans are still trying to be patient, is that, Arsenal gave Arteta the time and patience that he maybe wouldn't have had at another club, and he definitely wouldn't have had at our club. And because of that, they're at a point now where they're top of the league and potentially going to win this season, and they've been finishing high in the league consistently. And that, we haven't given anyone that time and patience. So maybe some of the ones that we have had, maybe the one we currently have could be the guy, but if we never give them the time or patience, we won't know. And I think that's the problem with United. We want to give somebody the time and patience to know, but we don't want to give the time and patience to the wrong person, because then the next person gets less and less and less and less, because you just run out of time and patience, and you're like, well, they can't all be the wrong guy. So I agree, to get results at Manchester United, to turn anything around, there needs to be time and patience, but the time and patience needs to be given to the right person. And I think that's the catch-22. But yeah, sorry. Now, last one, David's question, and I've saved this till the end, so we'll be able to come back and have a wee look, because I know he's flat to the mat with family time at the minute. So, we are legends, obviously. Guys, do go check out David Speaks Football as well. He is also a Manchester United fan. He speaks very well. His videos are a bit shorter than mine, so they're a bit more bite-sized, with your coffee or your lunch or your drive to work. But when we get on to United, we've been on United for about, must be 40 minutes now. If before the season started, they said halfway point, which we're at now, United would be 6th, 7th, would you have taken it with both hands? No, I wouldn't have. And I said that at the start of the season. I've been consistent. I put it in the group chat. Ash, I don't know why you're looking surprised. You've seen my season predictions before the season started. So no, I wouldn't have. But would you?
I think that's very surprising you say that.
I don't know why you're surprised. You saw my pre-season predictions. You don't remember, do you?
I don't remember where you put Man United.
5th.
Well,
I had us in 5th.
I mean, technically you are. So, like, that comment to me is...
Yeah, but he said
wrong.
6th or 7th.
Okay, well, I'll take you as your position right now. You're joined 5th.
Well, answer David's question. He said 6th or 7th.
Still, that's
what I'm saying no to.
That's a massive improvement.
Yeah, but last season we shouldn't have been where we were. So I'm not going to be like, oh, we're better than we should never have been bad.
But Lou, this is what I'm saying is, so if you go off the back of last season, you've got the top 3, which was Liverpool, Arsenal, City. Then just below that, you had Newcastle and Chelsea. If you go to 2 game weeks before the end of the season, we were I think 2 points off second.
Mm-hmm.
So what I'm saying is you're saying fifth means that somehow you've then jumped the points of either Newcastle or Chelsea based off last season, which
absolutely,
that is a crazy take. Like from where you finished.
It's and Twisted is more or less. He's asked me what you've sort of said in without asking it as a question. Fifth based on what? Because that's a bit mental. First of all, there's always fall off. There's always teams that fall off. So whoever was up at the top last year, we're never all going to stay up there because there's always a fall off. So you're counting on at least one fall off. Chelsea and Liverpool have both been dreadful. So there's two. I'm not finished.
Lou, you're not.
I'm not finished, right? So there's always fall off. So I counted for at least one fall off. We've had two.
But you haven't done though, Lou.
Also, our position last season was nowhere near where we should have been. So I didn't use that as a starting point. I didn't use where we finished last season as a starting point because we never, ever, ever, ever should have been there. So we were always going to move up. There was always going to be teams that moved down. And then I mixed in a bit of hopium, a bit of being a fan, because I'm not here to be a pundit. I'm not here to be a statistician. I'm not here to be realistic. I'm here to act like a fan. And as a fan, I expect my team to finish in fifth. And for all you people saying I'm crazy and deluded, we're in bloody fifth right now. So I would say I'm the most accurate out of the whole lot of us. Thank you very much.
But so that's where I said Man United would an improvement is anywhere between 8th to 12th. You say about that likely there'll be a fall off between one of the teams, correct? Yeah. However, but then you're discounting the teams that are just below us that would then be the likely candidates that would then go up, being the likes of Villa, Palace.
No, I put us there instead of Palace.
I
filled in that blank with United.
I mean, fair enough, but a massive improvement would be 8th to 12th. If you finished 8th this season, that is a huge input. But but I can understand as a fan, you of course you have the right to be raging because where, like I said, Man United should be is challenging for the league. So that's where your eyes of where you should be. However, as an improvement based on how shit Amorim was at the back end of last season, how there was that stupid stat of how many games he won. It was crazily low. To be able to then take that and then to be 8th or something, you're then looking and be like, right, do you know what? Let's consolidate our team because we still have lots of players we need to buy. Then the next season, you go look for Champions League spots. I just think that the jump between where you are and potentially getting 5th is huge. And the fact that
it is huge, but I expect us to make it. And so take all your logic and say 8th, okay? And then you swap Onana in goals for Lamens. There's another 3 spots. Boom. We agree.
What? But what? No. That's what? The 8th is including Lamens. That's it's
not. Right. Onana, he's not a lemon.
Onana, literally drops your team to 15th. That is a keeper. That is a 15th. He doesn't even take points off you. Like,
not just me, lad. Not just me.
That's the thing is, right? You've just said, like, those
I
players.
haven't said it. Bruno Wash has said it. And be nice to the chatters.
But so those players that you've said there, Cunha obviously was at Wolves.
Yeah.
He was good. I think Cunha's good. I don't think he's a top 4 level player.
Oh.
And Mbeumo is. Ahmad has the potential to be. He still has more time to grow. Sesko, I think he potentially has the potential to be a top 4 striker, 100%. Bruno, yes. So for me, I would say 3 of those players are top 4 material. With a question mark on Ahmed because he needs time to still prove that. Cunha, I think he's still just below that level. Bruno again. I'm unsure about Bruno.
No, Bruno's done. I agree, actually. I think Bruno's done. I think Cunha is very, very good. I disagree. He's not a top 4. Hello, LFC Aaron. Welcome, and Happy New Year. I think Cunha can be better than what he's currently performing. I think Mbeumo
100%.
Stellar. I think Mbeumo's actually unlocking sides of Ahmad that we hadn't seen before. So I actually think Ahmad has improved. I think Sesko was underperforming. I think he will come good, but we needed an experienced striker this season because Sesko is not in at the moment. And who was the other one? Bruno. I'm done with Bruno. Bruno just needed to be sold. 100 mil. We should have just took it. He was very good. He gave a lot. His time was up. And as per usual, we've kept him a season longer than we should have, which is what we do with United. We eke things out and we make them last longer than they should. But we are on 2 hours and 4 minutes. We have discussed every single match. We've discussed the injuries. We've discussed suspensions. We've discussed all of the matches. We've discussed everything outside the matches. I think we've talked about everything there is to talk about in football in the last 2 days. I want to let everybody go and enjoy their New Year's Eve. I have said I still want Manchester United to finish in 5th. Before we go, last minute, where do you think Newcastle is going to finish at the end of the season?
5th or 6th.
And I'm deluded. There you have it, folks. No, just joking. Everybody have an absolutely wonderful New Year, New Year's Eve. I will speak to you all, I am sure, very, very soon. Head on over, say hi to Kate and Jimbo. They should be live right now this minute. Lovely, lovely channel over there. Lovely chat. Smash a like if you haven't done so already. Subscribe if you haven't done so already. Go off and enjoy yourself. I will see you all in the new year. Ash will see you all in the new year. We will be back doing our predictor before the next round of games. And obviously we have lots of football to finish off this round tomorrow. Have a